Veganism Rearranged is saving me.
You think that cows are being raped. I gotta be honest, yes. I've been doing this for 12 years. I've never heard that before.
Yes, but they put an arm in the anus, they grip the cervix from the inside, and then they inject her with the semen that they've masturbated from the bull. So that's the AI gun.
Have you ever heard the term soy boy?
I never touch soy, bro, because estrogen's bad. Bullshit. Estrogen is what makes men manlier if testosterone is present. So unless your testicles fall off, soy is fucking dope.
Xenoestrogens, like BPA in the plastic, they actually throw the hormone balance out of whack. What many people don't realize is that essential oils can balance the hormones.
And definitely avoid meat, okay? Everything holds an energy, and meat holds the energy of death, of fear, because those animals knew exactly what was going on when it was going on.
Because when you consume meat, you are consuming adrenochrome. Adrenochrome is the blood from a petrified, slaughtered being. It contains fear hormones.
They're resonating with the lies and the nonsense. They're vibrating at a lower frequency. And the point is to raise yourself to a higher frequency so that when you see bullshit at low frequency bullshit, it doesn't resonate with you. You're like, nah, I can't even buy that. It just feels wrong.
So if you ever see information that says fruit is the equivalent of table sugar, simply disregard it. It's just plain wrong. It's misinformation.
Because they didn't want to get rid of human slaves because it was very convenient for them. They gained a lot of benefit from it. And this is the same thing you're doing right now. You're on the wrong side of history right now. You're actually supporting an industry that's abusing animals and killing them.
Do you think most people one day are going to be vegan?
100% evil can't last forever. Most people look at this and don't want to support it. They're not like you. Like you're really a minority when it comes to animal cruelty.
Veganism is just extreme. It's narrow-minded, it's judgmental,
What's
it's
extreme?
self-satisfied.
Look, if you and I were in a field drinking beetroot juice and somebody walked in and started sucking on the breasts of a cow, who's the maniac? It isn't just the human animal that has an interest in his life.
As vegans, we're encouraging people obviously to not oppress animals regardless, whether it's for the leather industry or zoos, entertainment, but also for the dairy industry. So in my view, dairy is one of the most horrific industries. Like it's worse than the beef industry because they still get killed, right? This is every dairy cow that's used in the dairy industry, they will be killed, but they're raped. So basically this is the boys, they have an electric dildo put in the anus because they have to
do what?
Well, they have to make, you're a woman, right?
Yeah.
So you're not always making milk.
No,
how do you
breastfed though.
Okay, but how do you think the other mammals, right? They have to get pregnant to make the milk for us.
If you've used that thing called the internet recently, you've probably seen exactly what I've seen, which is that there's doctors and experts and influencers that tell you that fruit is bad for you.
If that wasn't bad enough that she's been restrained and forced to be, the baby is then taken away from the mother. Now, cows are very maternal, right? So they're crying, they're trying to chase after their babies after being taken away. How does that make you feel?
And a lot of people would be like, vegan, fucking blue-haired vegans, they're, small and pale and wimpy. And that's not entirely wrong, but that's more a correlational than a causational thing. Like, most vegans just aren't that interested in getting super jacked.
They become unwell. That's the parasites. They're reacting. They're playing up to get you to eat the meat. They take over the mind. They take over the body. So there is a period of recovery from consuming such things, okay? So don't fall into this silly notion that, some people just need meat. It's not true, okay? That's not true. You can get all of your essential vitamins without eating meat, okay?
So I decided I'm going to do a 5-day juice fast. On day number 5, this is honest truth. My body expelled a tumor the size of a golf ball, about that big, with blue blood vessels attached.
And he got really, really sick. He developed all these health issues. Then he decided to start doing the opposite. He started doing all this juicing and things like that, and it all went away like that.
They're male chicks in the egg industry. They won't produce eggs, so they grind them up alive on their first day of life upon hatching. Standard practice, free-range organic eggs do this.
So they get dropped off fully conscious, alive, into a macerator. Basically, you had a baby chick and you had a food processor, and you drop them in. Would you press the on button?
Yeah, we'll blend, but I'm not going to press it.
But every time when you buy eggs, even free-range organic, You're basically pressing the button.
So if eggs aren't the solution, what is? The missing key, the power of plant-based protein. This may surprise you, but the most powerful muscle rebuilding foods aren't found in animal products at all. They're found in plants, specifically legumes like lentils, chickpeas, black beans and soy. These foods deliver not just protein, but something even more essential, a rich balance of amino acids, phytonutrients and minerals that spark cellular regeneration.
And it's very important to make that distinction in your language when you're talking about it and when you're interpreting what other people are telling you. Okay? There is no substitute for this. There are two types of carbohydrate. There's the refined and the whole carbohydrates. And it's just that simple, period, end of story.
Dr. Gerson, Max Gerson, juicing. A juice every hour in his therapy. 5-6 coffee enemas a day. I know, I worked with them years ago. What was his main juice? One of his main juice?
Carrot.
Carrot. Isn't carrot a high glycemic index?
One of the highest.
One of the highest. But he knew that the carrot juice and the sugar in that was not going to feed cancer cells. Because why? It's a left spin molecule.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they're all enslaved and they're all murdered.
But everyone knows that. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that an animal has to be murdered to eat that meat. That would be living.
You would be surprised. I've been doing this for a long time. Yeah. Okay. When I show this to people, they feel sick. I didn't see that. I never knew this.
So they didn't know an animal was needed to create the meat.
It sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? But they are so far detached from the process that they don't see murder when they grab a chicken burger. It looks like a chicken burger. It doesn't look like a bird.
Yes, I would say that's not good because I didn't know that.
If I grabbed a pig here right now and stabbed them in the throat, this pig in the throat, everyone here is going to be screaming bloody murder, and then they'll go in there and eat a ham sandwich. Now, what's that about?
But if you have the blood type that says you need to eat meat, I think it just simply means that you need to have more protein. All protein initially comes from plants. You look at all of those animals, are any of them carnivores?
No. Vegans generally, statistically as a group, tend to exhibit more sort of feminized mental characteristics, including a higher degrees of sympathy, which probably brought them to be vegan in the first place. And generally speaking, when you engage in hardcore resistance training and an attempt to become monstrous, you're exhibiting more masculinized characteristics, which is like good or bad. It's not like value judgment. It's just a different way to roll. And it's just like most vegans just aren't on that spectrum of things, which is totally fine. Again, it's totally cool. And that's not all vegans, etc. But it's just a thing. Like, you know, if you say like, oh man, the hippie lifestyle isn't conducive to getting jacked, like I just don't think most hippies want to get jacked. You can also say thing about computer scientists, like what is it about computer science that makes people small and pale skinned and like socially awkward? To be like, wait, is it the computer science or is it the fact that computer scientists themselves just generally tend to be those things and just don't care about being another way? It's probably more correlation than causation.
Vitamin B12, it's not made by animals, it's not made by plants, it's actually made by bacteria. And some people will say that prior to the advent of modern hygiene, well, there were bacteria in the soil, on our hands, on our fingers, in our mouths, on the vegetables we would pull out of the soil, and that might give us the traces of B12 we need. Well, maybe so, but modern hygiene means those days are gone. So you are going to need to get vitamin B12 as a supplement.
Can any blood type eventually convert to a plant-based diet?
Absolutely. Any blood type can transition to a plant-based diet with the right approach and mindful adjustments. While the Akashic perspective highlights how different blood types may have unique predispositions, it doesn't mean they are limited to one type of diet.
I want to eat muffin.
You don't need to.
What's your problem with that?
You don't need to, though.
You don't need to eat these animals.
And eat something that's already dead.
You don't know that you pay for those animals to be killed via the supply and demand chain. That's how supply and demand works. You pay for that animal to be abused and tortured. That's why I'm calling you an animal abuser when you pay for them.
So as a result of that, the insulin receptors become less functional. Glucose ends up pooling outside of the cell surface. That causes high blood glucose and an inability of glucose to enter cells. Now, once fat is at a physiologically normal level, you can eat fruits and other carbohydrate-rich foods to your heart's content without your blood glucose rising about 130 after a meal.
The thing is that this can't make a huge difference. We know that It might make a small one, which maybe, not for sure, can make omnivorous diets that include animal products, just marginally a little bit more hypertrophic. So that's a possibility we're not willing to rule out. So we're not willing to say it's a total myth that vegan diets have absolutely no impact on muscle gains. It might be true, or at worst, and at best, it's not true at all. Right?
Let me put this to you then, because this is a good thought experiment here. How about I shoot a dog in the head, chop them up into pieces to feed that to the dog so the dog eats meat? Would you be okay with that?
No.
Why not? You're okay with feeding other animals to a dog? Chickens, pigs, cows, fish are all fed to dogs and cats. Is that okay?
Often struggle to communicate the best advantages of veganism and the best points for veganism. But that's totally understandable because a lot of vegans come from a place of being very, very upset, rightfully so, at animal suffering. And, you know, it's hard to have equanimity in the face of essentially mass slaughter, which is really what industrial farming is.
So we're using more land now.
No, we're not. We're gonna reuse that land. The land already exists, bro. You think we have to just keep that land for grain? No, we take that grain away. We let rewilding happen, you know. We let forests grow back there, you know, because they've deforested that land, haven't they, to grow crops?
Yeah, of course.
Most deforestation in the Amazon happens 100%. To grow crops to feed to you.
Do you think though?
No, sorry.
Yeah, no, go on.
To feed to your animals.
Yeah.
What I mean is this. You're missing the point if you focus on the high blood glucose and you don't pay attention to the cause. Your blood glucose may rise due to carbohydrate in your food. That is totally normal. But if you're already insulin resistant due to the accumulation of excess dietary fat that accumulated beforehand, then your blood glucose is going to go higher than you want it to go. So it's not technically the fruit that you should cut out. It's the fatty foods that cause the accumulation of excess fat, leading to what's known as intramyocellular lipid accumulation, as well as intrahepatic triglyceride. That's fancy scientific words for fat that accumulates in your muscle and fat that accumulates inside of your liver.
Think of your muscles like a house being repaired. Protein is the lumber. It's essential, but without nails, cement and tools, the lumber just sits there. Plant-based foods provide the whole toolkit. They supply not only protein, but also magnesium, potassium and antioxidants that reduce inflammation and allow your muscles to use that protein efficiently. That's why seniors who shift from relying solely on eggs and animal proteins to including powerful plant proteins often notice faster recovery, more energy, and strength that surprises even their doctors.
Instead, we want you to focus on being aware that your blood glucose is merely a symptom of insulin resistance. And if you can reverse insulin resistance using a low-fat diet, then you can end up increasing your carbohydrate tolerance over the course of time, which increases the amount of fruit that you can consume.
Melatonin is your feel-good hormone. These foods will not make you feel good. This is very low vibrational meat. It's not meat, it's raw flesh. These animals are stripped from their family, put on a conveyor belt, watch their friends be tortured, and then get slaughtered in a slaughterhouse. Think of all the fear that's running through their blood, all the hormones, all the fear, and you're going to go and eat that very low vibrational energy. As you can see here, this is the light photons within fruit. You can see the light, the life force in this fruit.
Will receive a different course of karma for that choice, but it doesn't make you a vegetarian or vegan. You know, if you choose to eat meat, that doesn't make you a carnivore. This is all bullshit. These are choices and preferences that you have in the moment as you move through life. So these titles, they create a cesspool of hatred and competition that is an illusion.
There's a resistance to integrating novel thoughts, and many times new ideas aren't implemented until the people who hold the counter opinion die.
Many professional athletes.
No. The consumption of soy. The consumption of soy.
Yeah, I mean, most in order to
Let's get down to one last question though, just from a very technical one.
Michael starts citing studies and Charlie changes the subject. That's something you see a lot when someone realizes they're losing ground. Soy has been studied extensively. It doesn't lower testosterone. It doesn't feminize men. Actually, soy protein and whey protein result in similar muscle gains when combined with resistance training. But even if you're still unsure about soy, it's not a problem. You don't have to eat soy to make better choices for animals. There are plenty of other animal-free food options to choose from. We should try not to confuse cultural anxiety around masculinity with nutritional science. Masculinity isn't about eating meat. It's about values like strength and integrity. And I believe choosing to protect the vulnerable and not dominate them is a masculine trait.
מה זה? טרי, טרי. לחלק או לארוז?